to record with you our first time in the FRB recording studio on 6th Avenue.
This is a new studio. I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Got a beautiful gray wall.
Yeah,
blue gray. It's blue gray.
Blue gray. It's very fitting that our first recording here is you and me as co-leads of our new AI backstreet.
Absolutely. And we're here to talk today about the new My First AI Policy.
That's right.
Which is really exciting.
I'm very excited as well.
So the genesis of this was creating the floor, creating the first level up for businesses, law firms, companies, accounting firms, financial services firms.
Yeah.
What's the thought process here? What are we doing?
Well, a lot of these projects, I think, come from a genesis of us working for ourselves. We know there's something that we need to do. We know that we as a law firm need to have an AI policy. We've had an AI policy for quite a while now, but we also knew that the pace of technological change is so rapid that our AI policy was not covering things that we knew we were doing, like agentic use cases, like building stuff with cloud code, things like, okay, we have a bunch of attorneys in Harvey. It is pretty good, but there were more advanced concepts we wanted to get into there. And so we started building it for ourselves, and we're like, hey, this is pretty good. What are we gonna do with this?
It's unlimited use cases, so it constantly evolves. I mean, it's the new software we're using with Cloud Code it just started in March, really, when we started really digging into it. In May, you guys were already months into it, and it wasn't part of the policy. So we got to update this thing a lot more often.
Right.
So what is a business going to do? What kind of chance do they have to be constantly on top of, state law changes or regulatory impacts or even the things that they're doing in their business? So is the point of the policy to provide that baseline level? Are we going to provide updates?
Well, that's the idea, right? So one of the reasons we're releasing it publicly the way we are, and the reason we're releasing it as a public good, as a dedication to a public domain, is so that it gives people the license to come in and, one, definitely take it, use it, adapt it to their business, make it their own. Two, to take geographic distinctions, industry distinctions, other things that they're doing in their world and their business, things that they're seeing. So it's not just on us and our shoulders, because this is going too fast for us.
Oh yeah.
It's going too fast for them. The only way that anyone has hope of keeping up, besides spending hundreds of millions of dollars, is to work together and to collaborate, and to the good ideas that we come up with are just ours. There's going to be hopefully now hundreds, thousands of people that are going to be able to suggest their improvements, their changes, their industry stuff, their geographic stuff. So we have a more diverse, more comprehensive set of policies that are more broadly applicable. And then now people or their agents can go to our GitHub repository and say, here's a policy that makes sense for me as a starting point, and start there.
So the dream has been realized in a sense, though. We've created a policy that not only is of use to us, but is the template that every other business can use and then iterate on, and then post for other people to use on Git. So I go to GitHub and I download the AI policy and I look at it and go, this is amazing. This is a great first step. And then I iterate on it. Then I can put it right back up on Git, and anyone else in the world can now access that amended policy.
Yep.
And what a fantastic idea to open source this for everyone to use. So it's kind of the opposite of what's happening in some way in the broader legal industry, where it feels like firms are kind of closing up a little bit, at least the big ones that with lots of cash to burn are figuring, hey, how do we hold this back and keep this from the public? This is a very different approach. We're saying, everybody, here it is, use it as you will and share with other people. It's completely open source, and here's the platform we can build it on together.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exactly right. And I think it's a little bit, I don't know if scary is the right word, but I think law firms are coming from a place of fear of, we have to spend gobs of money to build a proprietary technology stack, or we're not going to have any value left anymore. And I don't think we wouldn't be doing this if that was our mindset, right? I think our view is there's a lot of firms that are not in that position with gobs of money to burn. Maybe they are, but they're coming from a place of fear of, there's a big change happening and they don't know where to start.
They don't understand it either.
Right. They may not understand it, but they certainly don't know where to start, even if they don't understand it. And so I've heard this repeatedly at firms that say there is no AI use allowed at all.
Which means there's AI use everywhere, 100%. By the way.
Everyone's using AI. They just aren't telling the principals of the firm about it.
Sure.
Or we know that we need to use AI, but we're thinking about it and we're going to be doing something, but like stay tuned and who knows what they're actually doing. But you and I hear those conversations
all the time,
almost every day. And so we hope that this is a very small, this isn't like the end state, right?
This is the beginning. This is the start.
This is the starting line.
The policy is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the very first part and piece of a larger governance process, right? There has to be governance. There has to be human in the loop. There has to be consequence. There has to be an owner. We talked about the NIST framework, and that's prevalent throughout. I think the industry has really adapted this as the model, right?
Yeah.
This is just very much the very first step, but it's exciting that we're sharing it with everybody, with all of you, with businesses in the Northeast and across the country. This is a great place to start on your AI journey for your business and how to implement it in your practice. And of course, with FRB, the AI practice is focused on how to develop and govern these agentic tools in your business in a way that stays compliant with state law, with any regulatory laws that would affect your particular business, such as in finance or in healthcare or in law or in accounting, if you're a fiduciary, and how to stay clear of the common pitfalls or traps that you may not even be aware that you're stepping into, that may only become later aware of later when the consequences become real. So our practice is focused on helping businesses learn how to use and adapt AI into their business models to create productivity, to create, frankly, just a great culture that is technology forward, that's adapting this new technology to suit their business or their use need, and provide a greater service to their clients, which is exactly what we do. That's how we use it in our practice.
That's right. So yeah, I agree with you. I just hope this becomes a starting point for a lot of different industries, for certainly for lawyers, and that this gives them an orientation of where they need to start, and that whether they have no AI and no policy, and this is the starting point, or they have what they think is a pretty robust one, and they want to compare notes against ours. I think that's great. And if they just want to criticize us and say, "Hey, you're missing this,"
that's great.
In there, I think that's great.
I'll take it.
But then I think part of what you just said is we want to also use this as an opportunity to do more work to help more entrepreneurs, more law firms to figure out what works for them and how to adapt their organization to the change that is, disrupting their industry and in every industry.
It's disrupting every industry, and law firms are not unique in that respect. In fact, we're instead of being impacted by AI or the future that we can't control, we're in fact impacting the future by being leaders in this space. In fact, I believe we can talk about our AI litigation subscription model as well as our outside general counsel subscription models now.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the genesis of the subscription model and why we decided right now to do this. Like what allowed FRB to start this right now in this moment in time? What made us say this is the right time to do this?
So Chris, you tell me what was the genesis of the AI litigation subscription model?
Well, for me, it was the billable hour no longer made sense as a unit of measurement for my practice, right? The things I was able to use or do with AI created tremendous upside value to a client. So what are my options, right? I have to pass on, obviously, that benefit to the client, and I got to find the right mechanism to do that. And an hourly rate doesn't make sense when my value far exceeds what I'm able to provide.
Well, tell me more about that. What does it mean for the value you're providing to exceed what's measured by an hourly rate?
So
I understand that, but explain that a little bit so people will understand.
Yeah, it's a good point. So let's say I take a task that would normally take me 20 hours, 30 hours, drafting a memorandum, going through discovery documents, organizing documents for production, responding to interrogatories, or responding to document demands, or even drafting of a complaint or a motion. Right? All these things take a tremendous amount of work because you have to look at the documents, speak with the client, interview them, go through this long process. By flipping everything around, right, and by using AI as the centerpiece of every single interaction with the client, from intake, from the interview, to the drafting of the complaint, to the drafting of the demand letter, the whole process is using an AI infrastructure, is using a workflow that centers around, I'm going to use a database. I'm going to use a vault that is stored within an AI program itself. We're using Harvey. And I'm going to give that access directly to the client and say, client, we're going to have our first conversation. Please upload all your documents to this AI portal. Not only are they going to be empowered to ask questions while they're doing that, right? They're going to have the ability to have a privileged and confidential conversation with an AI bot, which no other law firm that I'm aware of is offering in conjunction with a litigation subscription model.
Right.
Right. And it's the number one trap right now is people taking their confidential information and uploading it to a consumer chatbot where it's not protected, it's not privileged, it's discoverable. And if you're in an industry where that information is protected, either it's a trade secret or it's someone else's information, you're acting as a fiduciary, you've now breached that obligation.
Right.
So from the very first step, we're making it part of and integral to the client experience, right? Providing a greater customer service experience, providing them with the tools that a lot of firms will want to hold back, not even from clients, from their own attorneys, right? Because it impacts the hourly rate. It impacts the economic model of a traditional legacy law firm. So at FRB, we had the opportunity to completely disrupt that. And the way that would work is on a subscription basis. So with small caveats, all you can eat litigation. So there is no hourly billing anymore. It's value-based. I'm able to focus on better work product and judgment and really advising a client and being a partner with that client in their business and understanding what they need to do or accomplish as part of whatever the reason is that they need the help of an attorney, instead of spending oodles of time drafting and reviewing documents in the old-fashioned manner. So that provides multiple value propositions to a client. One, they have consistency. They know what their bill is going to be every month because it's the subscription rate.
It's a budget. That's a huge complaint from clients is I don't know what to budget month to month. What's it going to be next month?
Right. And
what's it going to be when you file this thing? I don't know.
Right. How much does this motion cost? It's all part of the package.
That's
right. So it can go right into their P&L. They can say, this is how much litigation is going to cost for, within this range within a year, right? Which is a huge value. That certainty is a huge value to the client. They're no longer, it's not like every time I call my attorney, it's going to cost me. It's more that I want to call my attorney because I want him to know this information that I'll help my case.
Let me not call him because he's going to run up a bill. So I'm not going to tell him this thing that may or may not be important to my case.
Right. So let's flip that around. Let's make it so we're going to be partners in this.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to strategize together because no one knows the case better than the client. I want them to be my partner in their case for whatever purposes they're bringing a lawsuit or they're defending a lawsuit. There's their story. Right. And I want them to be part of that journey with me. And the only way we can do that is by involving them in the process from the beginning, using the tools that are available to every lawyer or law firm if they choose to provide them. But doing that with my client, and I don't necessarily even have to teach them. They're already using chat. I mean, I don't think there's a person in the United States of America that's not using a chatbot somewhere, right? Even if it's with Google. So they're already familiar with this workflow. And it's sort of an insane proposition to say to them, don't use a chatbot at home with probably one of the most important things happening in your life right now. Never at.
Right.
I have to provide that in my service to the client. So
it's almost analogous to the law firms that are saying we can't use AI in our law firm, right? It's like, well, you can't tell the client don't use AI. You need to give them a way to use AI because you're right. It is the most valuable thing happening potentially in their life, in their business right now. Yeah. And they can't just fight with one arm behind their back. They need
blindfolded with both hands behind their back.
Correct. So, and they're so we view this as a huge client service, a huge driver of value, a huge, really for the attorneys at the firm. What I think a lot of attorneys, the reason they don't allow AI is they're scared it's going to replace them. I think our view is this is providing so much value to attorneys because it is getting rid of the drudgery of practice, of the sitting down with 10,000 documents and it can take you 100 hours to run through those. Like, no, let's use AI to go through those more intelligently, to surface the documents that really matter, to build those into the strategy of what we're doing in the litigation and do all that in an efficient way, which the client knows what's going to cost before they get started.
The strategy part of a conversation with a client is very different when you have the ability to inform yourself of key documents and understanding the scope of something as part of that onboarding process.
Yeah.
Whereas I would never be able to do that without AI, because there's no way I'm going to look through 10,000 documents or even 1,000 documents without being retained prior to having that conversation. So I think it really does flip the value proposition for clients. They get the benefit of my performance enhancements using artificial intelligence, right? My efficiency gain becomes their gain. And the more time I get to return to myself, the better I can perform for my client. And, and we talked about this before as to what other benefits that would have. If I free up 2 or 3 hours a day of time, it doesn't necessarily mean that I go find another client. It could mean that I spend more time with my family. It could mean that I don't work those 3 hours. It could mean that I do some thought leadership, or I do a speaking engagement, or I teach a CLE,
right,
or give back to my community in some other way. So there's all these other secondary or primary benefits, depending on your perspective.
I agree with that completely. The return on the investment of time here is we all get to use our time in a more valuable way. But I think for the client experience, it also means that we are doing higher quality work product more efficiently, quicker. And oftentimes in litigation, you only have you have a week to return a motion, right? And you only have 40 hours in that week of productive working time. So how much are you going to be able to return a really good work product in that amount of time? Now we know that with the same amount of time, we can turn better work product, higher quality work product, smarter, better research, informed by more documents, by collaborating with more people. All this is possible because of AI. So say, well, we're not going to use AI to, do the reply motion. To me, it just seems zany.
It is. And on the flip side of the litigation piece would be the corporate piece, right? Which is where we get to really know our clients in a way that wouldn't have been possible in the past, or even bringing other attorneys into a matter. So let's create this narrative, right? Where we have a new corporate client. We upload all the operational documents, operating agreements, everything that's required, bylaws, employment contracts, buy-sell agreement, everything that they have under the sun that's in their disposal, right? That's sometimes difficult to get when there's multiple people, managers, owners.
Right. Even just compiling the documents might be of value, right? Because what are the 100 vendor agreements that we have? I don't know. There's 10 people that control those things.
So we can provide access to an AI space where they can actually upload all those documents, right? Or share, even just share emails, something to populate that information.
Yeah.
And then let's say that we're in a general corporate representation mode, right? We're advising them on this, that, and the other thing as part of the subscription price for outside general counsel. And then there's an employment issue. We have to bring an employment attorney in. That employment attorney is not starting from zero. They're able to go into the space and using all the documents that are there and all the prior context and history that's been developed with whatever their servicing attorney is, jump into it and understand exactly what's going on without having to do a separate engagement, get up to speed on it doesn't exist.
Yep.
There's a tax matter. There's a breach of contract. There's a new vendor agreement. Hey, we want to do a change of control between the owners, or we want to do a shareholder agreement, or we want to bring in another investor, whatever it is, the context exists already. So the value of that service continues to rise and continues to go up because we're able to provide it faster with more context of the business and understanding of the business and the owners and what their actual objectives are than previously possible. And I think that's really what separates legacy attorneys from enabled attorneys that are able to use AI to return value and benefit to their clients at a predictable and frankly reduced cost, because the time component changes entirely. And you're right, practice is way more fun when you can focus on the interesting legal arguments and the strategy and the judgment that you provide to a client. I think the practice of law for me has changed dramatically in the last year.
Yeah.
It's not even the same thing. So my first AI policy.com was a brilliant idea. And it makes me think of like the Fisher Price toys, my first whatever Tonka tractor.
I think I had my first recording studio.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You have a little like wired microphone where you have a tape, and
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
My first AI policy. So we thought of the internet in its nascent stages, which is like, GeoCities or AOL days, and we thought of the strangest possible website design we could think of. And then we did it in the coolest way possible, by the way. You have to tell everybody about how we designed this website.
Well, yeah, obviously we first put together the idea and the plan together, but then we used Claude Code using Opus 4.8, and then for 2 days using Fable 5. We put together this website. We put together the GitHub repository, all based on the policy that was the actual AI policy in use at our law firm. Claude and Fable put together a really cute design. And myfirstaipolicy.com, you can actually use the website to generate your first AI policy for your law firm or for your business organization using the website. If that's not good enough, you can obviously click on the link to the GitHub repository, and either you yourself can download a Word doc, a PDF, a Markdown file, or you can instruct your agent to use our skill, which we published alongside this, to ask you questions and help you generate your first AI policy. So there's a bunch of different ways people can access this. The easiest way is to go to myfirstaipolicy.com and then just start there. But if you have the skill set to tell your agent to access our skill, you can go to our GitHub and see it there. And you can also get all the documents there in whatever format makes sense for you, all open source. We just ask that you please, if you make changes that you find are valuable, please let us know. Please commit those, push those back to the GitHub as suggested improvements. If there's other things that you want to share with us privately, publicly, feel free to reach out any way you can. Well, thank you all for listening to us. And Chris, I'm super excited to be on this journey with you. And I hope you all find value in the things that we're talking about and releasing today. And if you need to contact us or want to contact us, we're not just two people on the screen. Our contact information is below, and we hope you do reach out to us, and we hope you enjoy the things that we are releasing today. So thank you.
Ben, absolutely.